You know what I've realized? Sometimes the truth smacks you in the face in the most unexpected places. And for me, weirdly enough, it happened in my living room. Because of my dog. Yeah, a dog. And no, this isn't one of those cutesy stories where the dog teaches you patience or whatever. This is real. This is about you. About how you're showing up. Or not showing up. For your own life. The title sounds funny. 2 doggy-style secrets are revealed. And I get it. It's cheeky. But what I'm about to tell you might just be the most honest conversation you've had with yourself in months. So sit tight because we're going there. You ever watch a dog when it sees something it wants? It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't look around for approval. It doesn't wait for a sign from the universe or consult a life coach or read a quote on Instagram. It locks in and goes full sprint, heart first. No fear, no questions, no apologies. The ball's in the yard, that dog is already out the door. Squirrel runs by, game on. And I sit there watching this and I think, what the hell happened to us? When did we stop living that way? When did we start hesitating so much? Second, guessing our instincts, waiting for some external green light to chase what's calling to us. I'll tell you when it happened. It happened the moment we started overthinking everything. The second we let doubt become our default. The minute we decided we needed to have it all figured out before we even began. But that's not how anything real gets done. That's not how change happens. That's not how confidence is built. Confidence is not some magical feeling that shows up once you've got your life together. It's built in motion, in the act of doing, and dogs get that. They don't worry about the outcome. They don't analyze whether they're good enough to catch the damn ball. They just go, and that's what you need to do. Stop waiting for clarity. Clarity comes after the action, not before it. Now let's talk about failure, because that's where most people get stuck. They try once, it doesn't work, and suddenly it becomes a whole identity crisis. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. They attach meaning to it. They turn one setback into a story that lasts for years. But dogs, oh man, they don't do that. I've seen my dog full-on faceplant trying to catch a frisbee, and you know what he does. He shakes it off. Literally, he stops, gives a full body wiggle, and then he's back at it like nothing happened. There's no shame, no drama, no internal monologue about how he's a failure at frisbee. He doesn't carry it. And you shouldn't either. You've got to learn how to shake it off, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That breakup, that rejection, that job you didn't get, that thing you said you'd do and didn't. Stop dragging it behind you like a bag of bricks. Let it go, not because it didn't matter, but because it already happened. It's over, and you get to decide what you carry forward. You get to decide what sticks and what doesn't. And you get to choose every single day to forgive yourself, to recommit, and to try again. This is the part nobody talks about. How messy it actually is to grow, to chase something meaningful, to show up fully. You will look stupid sometimes, you will fall short, you will get it wrong, and you know what? That's the price of playing. That's the cost of courage. So stop asking to be comfortable. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. There is only now, this moment, this breath, this choice. Are you going to chase what matters to you, or are you going to keep sitting on the couch watching life pass you by? Look, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's worth it. I'm saying you have to want your own life badly enough to stop letting fear vote, to stop letting failure define you, to stop editing yourself for approval you don't even need. There's no mystery to this, no secret sauce, no 10-step plan. It's simple. You move, you try, you fall, you get up, you shake it off, you go again and again and again. You don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You need to stop lying to yourself about why you haven't started. The truth, you're scared. Scared it won't work. Scared you'll mess it up. Scared of being seen wanting something badly. But here's the good news, fear is normal. It's supposed to show up, but it doesn't get to drive, you do, and you can be scared and still chase the ball. So those are the 2 doggy-style secrets that no one told you about, but now you know. Go after what you want without apology. And shake off what doesn't serve you with zero hesitation. Live like the leash is off. Run like you're meant to. Stop sitting. Stop waiting. Stop wishing. You've got everything you need. The only thing left is to move. You ever notice how quickly a dog moves when it wants something? There's no pause, no questioning, no internal debate, just action. It sees the ball, the squirrel, the open door, and its entire body responds instantly. Eyes lock in, tail stiffens, and it goes. It doesn't sit down and wonder if it deserves to chase the squirrel. It doesn't overanalyze whether this is the right time to fetch the ball. It doesn't care if it looks stupid lunging after something it might not even catch. It acts pure instinct, pure presence. And what's wild is how much we've unlearned that ability as humans. We used to live like that. Think back to when you were a kid. If you wanted to do something, you just did it. If something looked fun, exciting, curious, you didn't hesitate. You acted, but somewhere along the way we got trained out of it. Taught to stop and think, wait, plan, doubt. We internalized rules, started caring too much about what others think, started waiting for permission to go after things we wanted. We swapped instinct for hesitation, curiosity for caution, movement for mental loops. And the longer we live like that, the harder it becomes to even recognize what our instincts are trying to tell us. This isn't about being reckless or impulsive for the sake of it. It's about trusting the part of you that asterisk knows asterisk, the part that lights up when an idea hits you, the quick jolt in your gut when you think about calling that person, pitching that project, trying that new thing. But what do we usually do instead? We suppress it. We tell ourselves to calm down, wait, think it through. We hesitate, and in that hesitation, the energy drains out of the moment, the spark fades, and eventually we don't move at all. That initial impulse, which could have led to something incredible, gets buried under a pile of second guesses. Our culture worships logic and strategy, and sure, there's a place for that. But if you rely solely on reason and planning before you take action, you will overthink yourself into paralysis. You will talk yourself out of every good idea. Because the truth is, most of the time, your brain isn't trying to help you grow. It's trying to keep you safe. And safety often looks like staying still. Staying small, avoiding risk, avoiding embarrassment, avoiding failure. But instinct doesn't care about that. Instinct is the inner compass that points you toward aliveness. It shows up fast and clear before the fear has time to get dressed. But if you don't act on it, you'll miss the window. Acting on instinct doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you trust yourself enough to begin asterisk before you see the full path. It's about taking the first step and letting the next one reveal itself. People think you need confidence to start. That's backwards. You get confidence asterisk by asterisk starting. You move, you try, you learn. That's the formula. That's how trust builds. And it all begins with a simple decision to stop questioning every damn impulse that comes from your gut. To stop looking around for permission or validation before doing what you already know you want to do. It might be something small, signing up for a class, sending the email, saying yes, saying no, changing your routine. Creating something, asking for more, saying how you really feel. Your instincts are sending signals all the time, but you've been trained to ignore them. The people who make real change, the ones who feel alive and fulfilled, they move differently. They hear that inner signal, and they asterisk on or asterisk it, not always with dramatic moves. Sometimes it's subtle, but it's asterisk decisive asterisk, and it's consistent. That's what separates people who keep moving forward from those who stay stuck. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not some special privilege. It's the ability to hear that quiet internal yes or no and act on it before doubt can shut it down. Hesitation kills more dreams than failure ever will. Because hesitation lets fear set up shop. It lets anxiety spiral. It turns moments of clarity into loops of confusion. But instinct bypasses all that. It's clean, it's fast, it cuts through the noise. You feel it as a surge of energy, a hit of excitement, a little jolt of this is it. And that's your cue to move, not to think to move. The people who wait until they're ready are usually the ones who never begin. And the truth is, readiness is a myth. You're not supposed to feel ready. You're supposed to feel pulled. If something keeps calling you, pulling at your attention, lighting something up inside you, stop ignoring it. That's not random. That's instinct, and instinct is there for a reason. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's not some magical trait reserved for certain people with perfect pasts, flawless skin, or childhoods full of trophies and gold stars. Confidence isn't a personality type. It's not something you wait around for, and it definitely doesn't show up when you're sitting still thinking about your fears. The truth is, confidence comes from motion, from doing, from action. Especially when you're uncertain, especially when you're scared, especially when you have no idea what you're doing. Because it's not the absence of fear that makes you confident. It's the decision to act despite the fear that rewires how you see yourself. People think they need to feel confident in order to take a leap. They wait for some internal shift that will suddenly make them bold enough to speak up, raise their hand, put their work out there, say what they want, or finally take a risk. But that moment never comes. Because confidence doesn't precede action. It follows it. You take the leap and then confidence shows up. You do the hard thing and then you start to believe in yourself. You walk into the room, start the project, send the message, make the first move, and it's only after that step that the internal shift happens. Confidence is built, not gifted, and the way you build it is by showing up in motion, over and over, even when it's awkward, messy, or uncomfortable. You don't learn how to be confident by sitting on the sidelines trying to avoid rejection. You learn by being in the game, by risking embarrassment, by screwing up course, correcting, and realizing that you're still standing. Every time you move forward without the full picture, every time you show up unsure and do it anyway, you're collecting evidence. That evidence builds trust, and trust is what confidence is really made of. It's not hype, it's not pretending, it's not faking it until you make it. It's earned trust in yourself through repeated proof that you can handle what comes your way. The problem is, we're taught to think our way into courage. To map it all out first, make sure the outcome is certain before we act. But that's not how real growth works. There will always be unknowns. There will always be risk. Confidence is not found in the comfort zone. It's built in the stretch zone, in the uncomfortable space between where you are and where you want to be. And that space requires motion, not perfection, not clarity, just movement. If you wait until you feel fully ready, you will wait forever. Because readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. You decide you're ready, and then you move. Confidence also doesn't come from winning every time. Some of the most confident people you'll ever meet have failed more than most. Not because they're reckless, but because they try more. They've built up enough resilience through experience that they no longer fear failure the way most people do. They understand that every attempt, no matter the outcome, is a deposit in their confidence account. Every moment of action, every new effort, even when it's awkward or incomplete, builds muscle. Just like going to the gym, you don't walk in strong. You become strong by showing up, sweating, trying, struggling, improving. Confidence works the same way. When you move, even in small ways, your brain begins to change. You stop identifying as someone who hesitates, someone who overthinks, someone who lets fear win. You start to become someone who acts, who shows up, who handles things. And that shift isn't just in your mind, it's in your body, your posture, your presence. The way you walk into a room changes. The way you speak changes. The way you look at yourself in the mirror changes, because you're not relying on borrowed belief, you've earned it through motion. Most people are stuck not because they lack potential, but because they're waiting to feel something before they do something. And they have it backwards. It's not I feel confident, so I'll act. It's I act and then I start to feel confident. You want to break the cycle of self-doubt. Stop thinking and start doing. Take the smallest step. Not because you're sure it will work, but because it's the only way you'll ever feel sure of yourself. Action is clarity. Action is evidence. Action is power. And power builds confidence one step at a time, one decision at a time, one brave move at a time. Failure is not a verdict. It's not a label. It's not something that defines who you are unless you let it. Failure is feedback. It's data. It's direction. It's the universe, life, or your own choices showing you something that didn't work the way you thought it would. That's it. But the problem is, most people take failure and absorb it into their identity. They internalize it. They start telling themselves stories about what it means. I failed this one thing, so I must be a failure. I didn't get the result I wanted, so maybe I'm not cut out for this. That story is what creates the real damage, not the failure itself. The truth is, failure is part of the process. It is inevitable if you are doing anything worthwhile. If you're growing, taking risks, putting yourself out there, you will fail. Not once, not twice, but over and over. The people who succeed the most are not the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who learn how to interpret it the right way. They feel the sting of it, sure, but they don't make it personal. They don't make it permanent. They know that failure is a signal, not a stop sign. It's just telling you, hey, not this way, or not yet, or try something different. You can fail at something and still be meant for it. You can fail at a relationship and still deserve love. You can fail at launching your business and still be built to lead. You can fail in public and still hold your head up high. Because failure isn't proof that you're unworthy. It's proof that you're trying, that you're moving, that you're not just sitting around in safety waiting for life to hand you something without risk. Nobody who's ever built anything meaningful got there without tripping, falling, and learning from it. The question is not whether you'll fail. The question is what you do next. Most people experience failure and immediately turn inward in the worst way. They retreat, they shut down, they start shrinking. Instead of looking at what failed, they focus on who failed. That's a dangerous shift. Because when you start seeing yourself as the problem instead of the failure as a moment, you start protecting yourself from more failure. You stop taking risks. You stop being visible. You stop moving. And eventually you stop growing. That's how people get stuck for years. Not because they lack talent or intelligence or passion, but because they've misinterpreted what failure means. But what if failure was just part of the equation? What if it was a sign of effort, not inadequacy? What if every failure carried within it the seed of your next breakthrough? What if it was simply feedback? Cold, clear, unfiltered feedback about what didn't work and where to look next. If you saw it that way, you wouldn't run from it. You'd study it. You'd stay in motion. You'd try again, smarter this time. You'd detach your identity from the outcome and recognize that outcomes are variable. But your effort, your resilience, your hunger, those are constants. Every single time you fail and get back up, you build something stronger than a win. You build grit, you build clarity, you build awareness, you build resistance to shame, and that is gold. Because when you are no longer afraid of failing, you become unstoppable. When you're not owned by the outcome, you start taking bigger swings. You start speaking more boldly. You start showing up with your whole self, not just the polished version you think is acceptable. And that energy, that raw, honest, risk-taking energy, is what leads to real results. There is no failure that defines you. There is only interpretation, and that's good news, because interpretation is in your control. You get to decide what story you attach to the moment. You get to decide if this is the end or just the middle. You get to decide whether this setback is a signal to quit or a prompt to adjust. That power is yours every single time. And every time you choose to reframe failure as feedback, you reclaim the ability to keep going. Not just because you want to, but because you're learning in real time how to become the kind of person who does. Failure is not a flaw in the process. It is the process. There's no progress without it. There's no success without stumbling along the way. It doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're out there in the arena doing something that matters enough to mess up. And that's always the path forward, not the safe route, not the perfect plan, but the one where you try, fall, learn, and rise again.